Oika, what up? Bienvenido and welcome again to another installment, another episode. Rahubat, Kansu, Alex Rivera, Rahubat. Okay, again, we're going to start. Probably going to conclude. There's so much that we can add to this particular energy center. This is the Jazhar, Áazub, Qabat Root Energy Center. There's so much more that we can definitely discuss, have a dialogue about. And again, applied sciences, and we spoke about it. Get on the screen. All right, now I'm representing. I got the red and the blue. You know what I'm saying? Representing all the red and blue flags out there, and my people in Haiti. I have a lot of genetics from Haiti, and my people in Puerto Rico, Cuba, all over. Even here in the United States, man. You know. So, like to start off by again the gold book. This is the gold book. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch. It's prayers. It's just to inspire us, right? So, this one in particular is said when you start a class, and it says, "O guardians," right? Or Nataru, those forces of nature, the overseers of us, forces of nature, or heavenly ones, right? The inhibitors of Sirius, the constellation of Sirius, constellation of Orion, Uranus, right? Orion, Orion's bell, you know what I'm saying? Providers of the planet, you know, the providers of the planet, mothers and fathers of the Homo sapiens, our guardians, our Nebu, that sent into and around me, guide me in all I do. Just want to guide me in all I do. Make me in your own image and after your own likeness. Help me that I may help all Homo sapiens. Let me speak from your head and not from my own. Let me just speak from your head, not from my own. Let me care from your heart, not from my own. Okay. I just wanted to start with that. Okay. Um, Let me see from your eyes and not from my own. I'm the child, not the parent. Make me of the best of your children, right? Or heavenly ones, you in your triple darkness are the source of light. In your triple darkness, in the womb, the light of this physical world, the source of the fact of all facts, the creator of all creation, the sustainer and the provider. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can, you know, whatever you subscribe to, you know what I'm saying? It's fine. You know what I'm saying? But this is basically very general. You can think of Jesus, you can think of whatever you want to think of, Yahweh, whatever you want to think of, you know what I'm saying? But this is acknowledging, you know what I'm saying, all of the dynamics of existence, which we're going to speak about. But now we're at the root again. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up my notes because I did make notes. We're at the root of it. And as I'm looking at this here, I also want to say, listen, not to put nobody out there or anything like that, but and you know what? I am going to read words of wisdom from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Okay. Now, some people have a problem with that because you call him Holiness. There's only one Holy One. It's the Holy Ghost. There's no other. Listen, to the Tibetan, to that school of thought, they're holy. It's the Holy One. Okay. To that, you know. Our sovereign grand commander, the Hierophant, the highest seat, is held by who? Panabayananan. To the Sabaean and the Wapians. You know what I'm saying? Not Jesus Christ. Panabayananan. That you have to be gracious and respect people's school of thought and identity. Because, like I wrote, I know two things, that they're good and bad. I know that there's agreeable beings and there's disagreeable people. There's antisocial and social, and it's usually the antisocial ones, the ones usually the one that think and not and they think that they're righteous. There's people out there that those are the ones that divides us, because in their school of thought they think they're so righteous. Oh, I'm so righteous because I go to church. Therefore, everybody else is not righteous. No. The sun shines on everybody. You can't cover the sun with your one finger. Impossible. You know, it's for everyone. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta be respectful of people's differences, man. You just gotta be respectful for that. You know what I'm saying? So people, they get in their feelings. Ay, Dios mío. They get in their feelings. You know what I'm saying? And they're not, you know, they're just not reasoning. You know, if you read the nature, um, which is a very great book to read, you're gonna see that it speaks about the God of earth, the God of heaven, the God of water. All these different gods, all the different deities, and it can acknowledge that, and explains as where it's coming, what's the root of that, and explains there's only one supreme being, and that's natural nature. Okay, natural nature. Okay, that condition. Because even if you, and I'm just going to mention this here real quickly, and I used to mention this to the 5%ers. You know what I'm saying? Is even if you believe in God, then you have to reason with yourself. What was God standing on when he created the earth? What? It was floating? It was floating. You see the reason behind all this? But if you use the word God, for lack of a better term, then you can say, well, nature is the God is in control. Natural nature. When you start looking in that perspective, you start again, pushing all those opinions and feelings. You got to respect people's opinions and feelings. You got to respect their opinions and their belief. I constantly say you can believe in your car, and that's going to take you to the destination, but not know there's a wheel loose. So there's a difference between believing and knowing, right? So I rather be in the knowing investigation. But things that you don't know sometimes are going to lead to belief. You don't know. You don't know. But I'm not going to be out here postulating that and going to be out here propagating belief. And I respect that. I respect people have their belief. So they also have to respect that I have my knowing, that I know certain things. I know what I know. So you have to respect that also. And if I have a belief, you got to respect that. It's not about disrespecting anybody, you know? It's for you to know what to know. Again, what to know, what is beneficial for you. You know what I'm saying? What is reason? What makes sense? What is common sense? Like they said, common sense is not so common, man. I'm telling you. So, getting into the conversation of the root, right? Again, it deals with usar, usir, right? It deals with stability, right? It is the Lord of what they call the netherworld. You know what I'm saying? It's again in this root, you have to stand to reason of what is the mental dead. When somebody is mentally dead, and I'm not talking about mental dead in terms of physical being sustained by a machine. Because let me tell you, once the body is dead, the body could be dead, right, and not the body could be unconscious, but the mind could still be doing this process and doing its work. We know that. We know medical science, right? Once the brain is dead, that's it. But there are people that have, when I talk about the mental dead, I'm talking about in terms of philosophy. They don't have the ethereal knowledge to stand to reason certain things in natural nature. In nature, they lack that ability. So what's Lord over that? That's also Usir, and that is Usir. When you look at in the Perdim Haru, when you look at the possession of Usir, right? You see the ascension, the Messiah ship. You know what I'm saying? You can even look at it as Jesus, as when he elevated, when he became a Messiah, right? He was baptized, and then the dove came, right? He became what? A ascended being walking on earth at that point. And it was John the Baptist, right, that baptized him in the Jordan. Now, a lot of this have other significance, but we're not going to go into that. But just the idea, you know what I'm saying, of him ascending, right? And also when supposedly he was crucified and then he ascended into the heaven. This ascension, right? And then he came back to what? To, in Revelations, he came back to reveal certain things, right? He came back to heal people. You know what I'm saying? To reveal, again, the mental dead and rise the mental dead in terms of philosophy, in terms of certain knowledge and wisdom, rising, brush them, brush all that. That's what Messiah, Masaha means to brush away. So a Messiah is able to brush away all this mental debris, you know, the debris, wipe the mental debris away, right? Clean you up. This is being Lord of the netherworld. This is a kingship, an ascension, a kingship. You sit on that throne. You're divine in the mortal form, right? You understand the cycle, again, of what is creation, death, and rebirth. You understand the cycle. And at this root energy center, you're able to renew yourself, renew your family, renew your culture, right? Renew your tribe. Here at the root, you have to feel safe and secure. And we're going to speak about that, about the shadow that it casts, because this is survival. This is your very survival. So when you feel rooted in the material world, right? You feel rooted in the material world, you become to survive. You become safe and secure and able to survival those urges, right? That you have to sustain yourself on an individual, on yourself, and you look at the 12 forms of love, right? We're going there. So I want to just read something. When you ask yourself in your environment, right, in this root, and you ask yourself, when, where, why, and how, where am I? So you look at your habitat in your environment. Where am I? Where, how am I living? You're asking yourself these questions. How I'm living, my environment around me. What is it doing? How is it affecting my families? How is it affecting my tribe, my community, this environment? You have to be conscious of that. This is a collective unconsciousness, right? And then you have to be conscientious. You have to rise above. You have to renew yourself. And this is all happens in this root energy center to establish your stability. That's what this root energy center is all about. You know, and they use this center, Qabat, when it deals with Hindus and deal even with Christianity, even with Israelites, you know, in the Torah. You see the stability, you know, in Psalms, you know, Proverbs, you know, certain Proverbs and Psalms that helps you to maintain that stability. And that's all cool. You know. But there comes a time that it's common sense. We all are experiencing the same thing on this planet. We're all experiencing the same thing on this planet. When you look at it from the transcendental self. But if you're going to contract yourself, you're going to be like, oh, I'm the only one experiencing this. I'm experiencing, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know that I'm the only one experiencing this. Everybody says that. Antisocial people, they contract themselves. Sometimes you have to go from within, but when you go within, again, remember, within becomes the outer, without. It comes in and the outer. It's reciprocal. It's what they call Mobius strips, right? Well, Mobius strip, but the Germans named it Mobius strip, but it's a symbol of affinity. And you look at the symbol of affinity, what comes in the inner, the outer, and the outer, and the inner. And so this is, again, the cycle creation, death, rebirth, on and on, the renewing, this renewing cycle, this waveform. You want to even look at it like that. So, let me just do this. Let me see what the Dalai Lama has to say. So I shuffle these cards. It's got a lot of nice little sayings in them. And let's see what one of these cards will pull up. Wow. Interesting. So this is a symbol here, right? And this is in Tibetan, right? And it says, be a good human being, y'all. A warm-hearted, affectionate person. That's it. Be social. Be a good human being, warm-hearted. Well, you always got to be always disgruntled and always got to be dividing because people don't subscribe to what you subscribe to. See, that's what divides us, and that's why, like I said, I study the science of reasoning, and when the more you get into natural nature and the science of reason, you get to see things for what it is in nature. So, important question to ask yourself when you do, if you're going to do applied sciences and you're going to actually apply it, in terms of how to engage your environment, you have to still be still and ask yourself, when and where am I? And when am I? At what point do I become? This is being, this is survival being, this is in the root energy center. You become, you know what I'm saying? Where am I? My environment, in family, in tribe. Where am I in my tribal family? Where am I in my family? When am I? When do I appear? You know what I'm saying? And in humanity, where am I? When am I? You know what I'm saying? These are questions that in the root. And then you could say, when are we? You can even take it further. Say, when are we? Why are we? How are we? Because when you ask, you become questions. You come on. You get on a quest. You know what I'm saying? So it starts opening you up, and then you can answer those those questions. You learn. You grab knowledge, and you become aware. So this is how becoming aware in this root energy center is by asking yourself. I like to use in terms of when are we? Because if you turn the me and the we, you know what I'm saying? When are me and we? Same thing. It's just reverse. It's reciprocal. So I say, when are we? Why are we? Where? When are we? When are we in our best form? You know what I'm saying? And again, that opens you up and say, man, I'm in my best form, when you ask that question, when I am nurturing and caring, and I'm a good person. You know what I'm saying? Then I become part of the greater whole, my whole being. I become a beneficial to my being. You know what I'm saying? Also, learning about your family and tribe and culture is to actually answer those questions. And remember, in natural nature, Raul Bapedi, in natural nature, right? There are two laws that are kind of like the rooted laws in the root energies of these laws, and that is the law of blood lineage and the law of pain, of pleasure and pain, of no, the reward and punishment law. You know, and understanding that when are we and why are we? We are the we as the people. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that we are interconnected because we're sharing the planet. In natural nature, we're interconnected. When you talk about when you go into the shadow self in the earth energy center, right? Remember in the Taha, Áazub, Qabat, in the earth energy center, that causes separatism and schisms, and separatism at that point. And then we get into the root, fear. And according to Napoleon Hill, who was an author and wrote some very good book of philosophy, you know what I'm saying? And then, we're not going to go into that as where he extracted it from or whatever. We all know. We don't know. We don't have to go to that. But there are 6 basic fears, right? 6 basic fears. The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. Those are 6 basic fears that we have to do the shadow work and look at that. We have to come to grips with that. Poverty. So we have to know how to combat poverty. And it's the mindset also, because we're in a sea of abundance. It's just some of us, our minds incorrect. Our minds is lacking. We think we're in the lacking stage. So we feel we're lacking this, we're lacking that. We don't think of abundance. There's abundance. Natural nature provided for us sustenance. An abundance of sustenance. Criticism. People like to criticize. Don't fear your criticism. Learn from your criticism. Learn from different perspectives. Learn from that. And see what you can draw out of those different perspectives and view, and then have the proper dialogue. Simple. Ill health, well, eat right. Get yourself together. It deals also with the root energy center, with the right type of nutrients. Again, that's cultivating your environment, your nature. It's again thinking about health. That's the root of it. Thinking about what you're eating, because it puts all your systems, your immune systems, your all the different systems that we have, even your all the systems into effect when you eat the proper foods. Because if you don't, you cause a blockage, and then this fear sets in, and that's what causes you to get out of balance. And it's hard for you to survive now because you're leaning more into the shadow self. That fear, loss of love. You know what I'm saying? We'll go into it when we get into the next one, the sacral energy center, or the heart, lack of love, grief, old age. People fear old age because they feel that it's a decline. You don't have no more that fluid intelligence, like they say. You know what I'm saying? You're not out there, you know what I'm saying? So you have what they call the crystallized intelligence. So become a mentor, become a teacher. Share the amount of wisdom that you have acquired from making mistakes or doing the right thing, the wisdom, learning between what right and wrong. You share that. And death is just another transition. We say we don't believe that it's another transition. It's another state, embrace that. It's another transition. It's another burning, cold burn. It's still growth. There's growth in another. And you become, again, from the unseen before you're born to the seen, back to the unseen. It's just that you don't remember. You don't acknowledge it. Simple. But anyway, those are the fears. And that what causes a blockage in you to survive and becoming your root, you know what I'm saying, in families and in communities, fear of a lot of things. Don't fear is self. Don't fear, but fear is self. You hear that a lot. Don't fear, but fear is self. And dealing in with the enlightenment self. You see, you got the light, the shadow, the enlightenment self. We're dealing with, again, renewal. Renew yourself. You lost the love, renew it. Find another love. Ill health, renew your health. That's how you balance it. Criticism, renew that. Maybe they criticize because of something you said and the way you said it. Well, renew that. Have the proper dialogue. Poverty, renew. Renew your economics, your habitat, your environment, or the way, renew it. Put on that thinking cap and look at your assets, your liabilities, and balance that out. Do record keeping. Renew it. Bookkeeping in your home with a composition book. That's what I do. And I keep balance. I put everything in balance. You have to balance it to create that stability for your family and your tribe and everything. Death is just a renewal of the earth. The more life there is, the more death. And when death comes in, then there's life that comes in. Remember those particles. Our women got the key because when the fetus is being born, remember, women's nose get huge and she's smelling it. She's taking in these particles. Bro, how do you think these particles? It's a recycle. It's just a recycle. These particles. There's nothing created out. No, it's just recycle that's going on. That's again the concept of get. It's a recycling of things. And when death comes in, it's just a part of recycling. Then life is going to come in. Because if you look at your genetics, you got an ancestral pattern in genetics, right? That comes from where? From your ancestors that have transitioned. And it's recycled in terms within you. The spirit, that inspiration is recycled within you. So it's just constant. Let me do some acknowledgement. Let me read some of the comments here. Kevin Lopez, Assalamu alaikum. I can't really see. Let's see. Rabna. Yeah, ma. I can read a little bit of Arabic, but this glyphs are so small, I can't make out where it has the one nukta on top of two, because one would be ba, and the two are nu. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. My brother, nobody can read Chinese. That's not Chinese, that's Arabic. K Solo, what's going on? Yeah, I'm gonna call you K Solo, man. I miss you. Rivera, K Solo, ¿qué pasa, mi papi? It's not Chinese. Yes, Kevin, what's up? That's Arabic, Arabia. Yeah. If I can, man, let me see if I can bring the screen. Yeah, Kevin Lopez putting Arabic up here. You know what I'm saying? See, I see the first Rabna, Rabna, yeah, yeah. I read. It's been a while since I read Arabic. I used to study it very intensively. Arabic Fusa. So now I'm studying the. Hey, Lance. Hotel. Lance White. I gotta contact my brother Lance. Yeah, I have to contact my brother Lance, brother, because my brother Lance, again, wanna be. I'm an. That's I got the name honorable. In the School of Masonry. You know what I'm saying? You know, again, Hotep, my brother. Peace to you. So, so again, when you're dealing with the root, you're dealing with again your habitat and your environment, your echo, and your habitat and your environment at this root would be called Jazhar in Sabiic or Nuwapic Sabiic. You say Jahar, root, Áazub, energy, and Qabat, the center. You know what I'm saying? So to be rooted in the material world, to be rooted with family, to be rooted in tribe, you know what I'm saying? To be rooted in your organization also, to be rooted in culture, which is the cultivating of nature. You look at the prefix cultivate, cult, and church, the suffix, right? And you got culture. And what is nature? Nature is a condition. It's a condition that you have, is a condition. It's your habitat and your environment, right? It's a condition. The nature of something is condition. You know what I'm saying? So we have to study the condition of things to actually know what that is. You know what I'm saying? So we have to know how we cultivate those specific conditions and create a culture. You look at the African culture, they're, and you look at the African tribe and their habitat and environment and conditions. So you see them living in the village a certain way. That's their culture. And the colors, sometimes he deals with colors. You know what I'm saying? People think that it's strange for somebody to walk around the street with flowers in a flower shirt, but understand that brother may come from the island. And the island is a lot of flowers. You go to Florida, they're just differently than up New York. You go to New York with flower shirts, they're gonna think that you know what I'm saying? Peace and blessing to you, Rose. Peace and blessing. Cariño. ¿Cómo está? You know what I'm saying? So it's having respect and knowing culture. That's the root of it. Knowing the conditions. You know what I'm saying? People dress a certain way, people act a certain way because that's their culture. That's the conditions, their habitat and environment. So so things changes. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so that's the root of it all. And again, that could be blocked by fear. So we got to be careful with you know you got to do the shadow work. That's what's called shadow work. You got to look at your fears. And you got to face your fears. And again, just to reiterate for those that came in, look at the fears that Napoleon Hill mentioned, the six basic fears, and you got the fear of poverty. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes a fear of something could inspire you to change that, renew it. And that's just what happens in the root energy center, is that the fear of something could inspire you to renew that. That's how you balance that. That's how you balance the fear and the survival is through renewal. So you have a fear of ill health. So you get sick. Guess what? That fear, man, you're gonna want to do the right thing. You're gonna want to eat right. You ever feel loss of love? If you have a fear, you're gonna lose your love. Well, you know what? Work on that relationship. Work on it. Renew it. Again, renew it. We have this 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 we have this ability inside of in us to renew things around us, and it deals with. But if you do the shadow work, you say, okay, I sit down, I got these fears, I fear this, fear that. Let me work on that. Let me renew it. Let me back so I can balance that. You know what I'm saying? Because that light of survival and being is gonna cast that shadow. We live in this world of dichotomy world. You got the sun, and it casts a shadow on the moon, and the moon. So the sun gives electromagnetic forces, right, to the earth, but the moon also has forces that affects tides, the oceans, affect people, lunatics. Just now we got over that blood moon phase. And man, let me tell you, and if you notice that things happen, more shootings, even I don't know. I was bugging around even in my house. I've seen people around me and changing. There was things going on, and when you're aware of this with natural nature, and you're aware and you're a practitioner of the noon science and natural nature, you get to see these things, and you're like, wow, it affects. And they put this in movies. They put it in like vampires and what is the werewolf? How it changes the body. People become lunatics. That's where they get that from. People become savage and lunatic during the full moon. But and it's that and the reason why that is done is because it has an energy. Because it's creating tides. And so when you see the full moon, you see the tides and the oceans, what they call it becomes active, you know what I'm saying, during that time. You know, and then at the night it's tranquil, it's tranquility at night. So you gotta observe. You see, our ancestors had again, that's cultivating nature, cultivating those conditions, and that's culture. So in the Kemetic culture, you would say that they had plenty of time to look at the environments, the habitat and the environment, right? They even put it in glyphs and put it in their priestly writing and held sacred teachings in there. You know what I'm saying? It's by observing natural nature. Wow, Rose. Yeah, you couldn't look at it. I didn't even look at it. I was just on guard around my house, making sure things didn't get crazy. That's a Rose. Peace and blessing to Rose. Are you a Rivera? Is that what the R stands for? I don't know. Just asking that question. Yeah, it affected people because these planets affect. So also we had the conjunction. Thank you very much, Lance. Okay, thank you. I'll be in contact with you, my brother. Um, you know, what I was gonna say. Anyway, let me just keep going. So again, in this is the root energy center. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, again, being safe and secure, is very, very important. So, there's certain things, we learn in Wu Sabat, we learn certain things about, like for instance, if you look at the revelation to the Sabaeans and revelations, and this is in general practice for everybody. I mean, this is a way of life, you know what I'm saying? And we got to be protectors. The men got to be protecting, and the women are protectors of your family, protectors in your tribe. That's why there's so many things happening. You know what I'm saying? So many things are happening in this world because, again, we have to. Why wait till something happen in order to go out there and try to protect? Protect it. Police your own neighborhood. Start that association. Police your neighborhood. You know, and just to speak on what happened in Buffalo and what I've learned because I was in a meeting with a talent buyer. It's a Rivera. Okay, yeah, I'm Rivera also. Pacho Rivera to my mother's side. And also we got K Solo here, it's Rivera also. And also Kansu, Alex Rivera. Many Rivera. Rivera is a name that carries a very significance in Puerto Rico in lineage. And I'm gonna talk about that later on. That's very powerful. Yeah, that's Kushite, you know. that went into Iberian Peninsula, into Italy, and all that. But we'll talk about that later. Um, what I was going to say, I keep losing my thought. I'm so sorry. I got so many things going on right now. Oh yeah, I was sitting with, so I was on the phone meeting with a talent buyer, and getting ready to start doing some musical stuff. I got a company coming up. I'm just doing all the proper work, paperwork, to launch this company. And he related to me because I've been to Buffalo, and everybody knows in Buffalo Tops, that supermarket chain, Tops, is like the Winn-Dixie in the South. Remember Winn-Dixie? But you don't see no more Winn-Dixie. That Winn-Dixie was the majority of the Winn-Dixie was in the hood. You know what I'm saying? In the hood. It was a supermarket from the hood. And I hated to shop at Winn-Dixie because the food, terrible. So Tops is the same thing. Wherever you see a Tops up in Buffalo, up there in upstate New York, and Tops, the neighborhood, the people that shop there are usually African American or Hispanics. You don't see a lot of white people shopping in Tops. The food is terrible. And so the talent buyer, shout out to Larry McCray, said that Tops, there is no other supermarket within 5 miles away from there. So now these people, if they close down Top, where are these people going to shop at? You know what I'm saying? 5 miles, no supermarket, only Tops. Isn't that plan that you're going to put a supermarket like Tops, which sells the food, the meat? I mean, terrible food. See, I shop. I'm sorry, I got to shop either Whole Food or Sprout or sometimes Publix. I go to Publix sometimes because Publix now, have a little organic stuff. That's how I shop. Or I go to the farmers market and shop there. You know what I'm saying? And you see a lot of Hispanics and African American doing that. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Tops here, I don't even like I don't even like compare foods over here. It's like Bravos in Florida. Bravo. You know Bravo? You ever shop them? Yeah, you got a lot of Hispanic food in Bravo. The meat, terrible. I don't trust that meat. Same thing over here with compare foods. So our neighborhoods are being bombarded by these bad foods. And when you have these bad foods in your system, you know what it does to the root energy center? You know what I'm saying? You know what it does to your mindset? And if your mind ain't right, you ain't right. Your family ain't going to be right. Your community ain't going to be right. You know, show me a broken community. I show you these certain supermarket that you see in almost in every broken community. It's the same supermarket. Terrible, But you show me a community that have good food, market food from the farmers market, or something like Whole Foods, Sprout. You show me a community, and I show you cleaner streets. The people act different. I mean, so it deals a lot to do with the root energy center, and that's cultivating your condition. What is the conditions you're living in? Are the conditions that you're living in, are you cultivating a condition that they provided for you of bad food? Is this the condition is this your culture? Again, we got to renew our culture. Renew it. You got to stay on top of it. And we have the capability of doing that. And you deal with this energy center, Usa, to raise ourselves up, to be conscientious, not just conscious, because that's being to be aware. That's a ball of light, to be aware. It's conscientious, it's the act of doing something. Conscientious. Again, peace. I'm sorry, it's never peace, my brother. Whoever you are, peace. Again, being conscientious of the conditions. We cannot let other races of people or other people provide us with a condition that is detrimental to us in our health. We have to renew that. We can't let that happen. You know, that's a no-no. That is a totally no-no. Oh, peace. Sorry. Thank you very much, Tahaka. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody that's watching. Yes, congratulating me on my crown ambassadorship, because that deals with with the Queen of Sheba, the ancient African Kingdom Federation of the South, of the South Union, backed up by the African Union, and she does work at the United Nations level. That's international level, through the United Nations, and that's very important because their initiative, you see, as the crown ambassadors, we're giving tasks. There's going to be an initiative that we have a bank in Africa. It's called the Central Bank of Saba, right? The Bank of Saba, right? Currency, we have paper money, the currency, cryptocurrency, all of that. So those initiatives are going to roll out pretty soon for the communities, where we can actually go into communities and support the community so that people can live better. Again, while we're speaking, the root of it, tribe, families, community, and doing work. And sometimes you may have to power up with, like, for instance, you got the Make-A-Wish Foundation, right? You may have to do work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but you want to go to communities, right, where there's African Americans and Hispanic, and there's, you don't want to exclude other races, but you want also to take care of your race, because they're already doing it there for their race. Oh yeah, they're already doing it. So we have to use all these tools, organizations, all these tools, to what? To renew ourselves. You know what I'm saying? To renew. Simple as that. It's working another venue. That's working another venue. Some people are going to disagree with that. Some people don't want to rock with it. Oh, United Nations, this, that, which, oh, this is Picasso. Hey, listen, that's good and dandy, but that's just doctrine and dogma. How do we connect to the source of things? What can we do to benefit? In a way, Make-A-Wish Foundation, imagine going into a community and giving, during a certain time, and giving bikes, book bags. Kids going to school, making sure they have food in the schools, because a child that goes to school hungry, or make sure the families has food. So there's many organizations. You might have to partner up with a Christian organization, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. That's your doctrine and dogma. Yeah, you give me a pamphlet. Oh, yeah. I want to know what you're doing. I can rock with that. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what you're doing. Because again, if you move to the shadow self, then you're gonna vibe on that secondism, that separatism. So you have to do shadow work now. You gotta do shadow work. Everything ain't kumbaya. Like I'm saying, I'm gonna take care of my family, right? But knowing that my family is also contributing to humanity. It's those dynamics. It's like they say, you can love your family, then you can love your tribe, you can love your language, you can love life, you have all these different love, but not be in love. Because when you in love, like Ashuk, and you ishq in love, all of those love can exist at the same time. See? So by taking care of my family, I'm going to have a love for humanity. But if I rock and I say, oh, I'm going to be selfish and only take care of my family, it's about me and my family, me and my family, and the hell with everybody else. No, it don't work like that. Because your family and your children is going to have to live in that environment, and they're going to have to live. They're going to have to be social. At one time, one point or another, they're going to go out into the world. And that world is going to be global and international. You want to make sure that they're set and right. Saludo, bondo. ¿Qué pasa? You want to make sure that they're set right. You know, be proud of who you are, of course. Have pride of who you are, no doubt. But also understand that being proud of who you are also involves of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Humanity. Don't stay so contracted. Understand? Remember, expansion, pa'ut, pa'ut is the doorway to Padnabayanan, and I'm talking to the Sabaeans now. And to the world, the Padnabayanun is Ya, oh, light. The light that comes into the earth, right? That light. And we have to be careful because it can cast a shadow. But the doorway to that is expansion. You see? It's expansion. Dogon says pa'u, pa'u, in the Dogons. We say pa'ut, pa'ut. It's a diphthong. Pa'ut, pa'ut. When you say that, right, you understand that it's expansion, right? And that's the doorway to the light, where we say Padnabayananan. So I'm always getting to the alma. So in concluding with the root, remember you want to feel you being safe and secure involves a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? It involves a make sure that you also reach out to your, those that are doing the policemen. Make sure you reach out. Let me tell you something. I had to I want to go out there and do street performance because I want to go out into the public and street performance. I do professional gigs here, and I did that environmental performing at Islands of Adventure, and I'm going to continue on doing that when those contract comes back up. I'm going to continue on doing that. You know what I'm saying? But I like to just take my instrument, play, and expand. It's about expansion at that level, right? So I went to a neighborhood, right? And I said to him, wow, man, I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I have to have respect. I can't just come and bring my drum, right? And sit there and play. And I have to have respect for the establishments around me and create that rapport with them, saying, hey, listen, I'm going to be doing this and that. Make sure that they know what I'm going to be doing. First do it and then make sure, hey, listen, by the way, I hope that doesn't most of the time, depending on how you come out, most of the time they're like, oh, by all means, go ahead. We love it. You know what I'm saying? So I said to myself, I wasn't too sure if there's ordinance, what they call ordinance. See, you got to be conscious of things. Conscientious also, ordinance. So I contacted the police department and tell them, hey, listen, I'm planning on doing this and this and that. Do I need a permit? Do I need a permit? And so when I filled out the permit online and everything, the lady called me back and said, well, are you planning to amplify this with an amplifier and a microphone, whatever? And I said, no. This is just natural drumming. As a matter of fact, it's just a me and a bongo. And I want to put some, I didn't tell her, but I'm probably going to have some brochures, some books, Nuwapian books or books, whatever, and just get out there and, what I'm saying, and maybe have a badge and saying that I'm crown ambassador, But I don't like to mix in too much into that, but just to know that if anybody have, a quiet, anybody want to have a dialogue, they're welcome to. So, what she told me? She said, no, if you're not going to be amplified, you see, I didn't know, but she said, you're not going to be amplified. You don't need it in audience. She says, man, good luck, man. She said, something like that. Please. So you got to have that. Sometimes I speak to my police officers, but you can also leave it up to them. But remember, what I'm saying? Within that organization, you have some antisocial, characteristics too. So you got to be very careful. But a lot of times, you have those that are just doing their job and in the service, and it's about protecting, what I'm saying, and making sure things are right. But you can't only leave it at that. You also have to take those charges within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Formula, that's feeling safe and secure in your environment. Understand that, listen, these antisocial character, things that try to cause harm to you, you got to check it. And you got to make sure it doesn't cause harm for your family and the environment. So sometimes you have to police your neighborhood, sometimes association. My mom's did it when we were in the Bronx and the neighborhood, they used to, and she used to tell us, they used to form the committee, the tenant committee. The women used to do that all the time back in the Bronx. You form a committee, you know, safe and secure. You know what I'm saying? Also, that shouldn't happen in Buffalo. If we have, again, men gone that are ready to protect. I mean, there was a brother in there, a guard, that lost his life. He was an ex-policeman. He was a guard. And there could have been more people that could have been harmed if it wasn't for him to try to, you know what I'm saying? If he was an elderly man, you know what I'm saying? But we got to teach our youth also how to protect, be responsible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against any of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not against any of that. And sometimes, you know, in order to make your environment, if you're again, there's so many things that we can go into, which I'm not really going to go into that now. But anyway, we're here in 1 hour, 1 hour mark. I want to keep these short. And so again, all investors, thank you everybody for coming through, and I'm gonna probably, and this is an announcement. I'm gonna get up. So we dealt with the Earth magnetic field, right? The Earth energy center, and then we went up to the root energy center, which is superimposed by the panoramium, right? That's that area, which is your anus and your sexual organs, right in between in that area. That's the root. The tone is C, and the tone is like cup up, 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 right there. We're gonna go up to the sacral, which is the sexual organs. I'm gonna do two of them, one in the day, one in the night. One in the day, I'm probably gonna keep that careful with the language. It's like when you start talking about things like sex and stuff like that, which is very, very important, because how do you handle your sexual life is very, very important. There's the art of sex, but then there's the science of sex, and we're gonna go into the science of sex, the sex force, when we deal with the sacral energy center. At nighttime, applicable things that are applicable, we'll probably discuss that, when the kids are asleep, and we'll probably go deep into the art of sex, and then all, and as opposed, and this sacral center is the center that deals with um, pleasure and guilt. You know what I'm saying? Pleasure and guilt. And so we're going to look at it. We're going to do the shadow work also and look at guilt. What makes you feel guilty, with the pleasure and pain, looking at natural nature, the noon signs. And we're going to impact that, because that's, all of these centers that we did with the earth energy center, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus center, right? All those centers is where your feelings and emotion thrives, and they create habits, your habitual self, your habitat, So we're gonna go into that. We're gonna put that together. You know what I'm saying? Then the barriers are hard, and then you have your ideas and concepts gonna go through it. The throat, the first eye, the crown, and the star. These ideas and concepts, but in the four lower, right, are where your feelings and your emotions are, and they form habitat, your paradigm. It forms your paradigm, your habitat. So we're gonna go into that. You know what I'm saying? Um, so just be aware. And so again, hey, all investments to everyone. I'm out, and See you.